Deep in the dark forest, where shadows hide their secrets and the moon illuminates only the ancient trees, there lived a waterman. This was no ordinary waterman, but an ancient spirit doomed to wander between worlds for centuries. Legend had it that whoever saw him would face misfortune. The locals, whispering about him in the night, called him the source of evil. But, as is often the case, people were drawn to the forbidden and mysterious. One night, as the fog hung over the marshlands, a young daredevil named Edward decided to investigate the dark legends. He had heard tales of the waterman, but his youthful curiosity was stronger than fear. Edward armed himself with a lantern and headed for the shore of the dark lake where the legend said the waterman hid in the shadows. The water whispered its ominous predictions, and the leaves of the trees rustled like ghosts in response to his arrival. It was quiet at first. Edward made his way through the dark bushes, lighting his way. But as he got closer to the shore, his flashlight began to flicker, and the wind grew stronger. Edward slowed his steps, feeling the air fill with an unknown tension. And then, in the darkness of the lake, Edward saw something indescribable. At first it was just shadows floating on the surface of the water, but then the shape began to take on the form of a monster. The waterman was rising from the lake, clouds of mist surrounding his body, and his eyes glittered like the chilling gaze of death itself. "You dare to come here, mortal?" came the voice of the waterman, penetrating to the very depths of Edward's soul. The young man, numb with terror, could not utter a word. Instead, he immersed himself in the waterman's dark eyes, feeling his soul permeate with unknown mysteries. The waterman began to tell the stories of centuries, weaving his pain and anger into each word. He had been imprisoned in this world because of an ancient feud. And now he sought a way to break free, unleashing his wrath on those who dared to disturb his peace. Edward sank deeper and deeper into the watery world, feeling his consciousness mingle with the spirit of this sufferer. He saw the past eras, the forgotten battles and suffering that had caused the waterman to become what he was now. With each passing second, Edward felt his personality fading away, giving way to the waterman's soul. But at the last moment, when it seemed like he was going to lose himself, he remembered his humanity and the strength of his will. With a strength the waterman did not know he had, Edward broke free from the spirit's embrace. The waterman let out a cry of anguish, and his form began to fade, dissolving into the dark waters of the lake. Edward stood on the shore, exhausted and frightened, but still human. The night was quiet, only the wind whispering about the past nightmare. Edward realized that he had been chosen to break the waterman's evil circle, and his heart was full of a strange combination of fear and pride. He was back in his world, but there was fire and mystery in his eyes now, as if a piece of the waterman had stayed in him forever.